Hey guys, Ashes of Creation just finished their February development update live stream, and I'm here to give you a summary of the details that came out in it. First off, their pre-order cosmetics are going to switch over to a new set for March on March 3rd, which means if you are interested in picking up the Lustrous Cordiality set, you have until March 3rd to do so. And they just wrapped up a pre-alpha test this past weekend and are doing their next one between March 19th and March 26th. They also just wrapped up their previous dev discussion on your ideal class setups and are going to move into March working on a dev discussion talking about the hybrid combat system and what you're expecting to see out of it. If you've watched my previous summaries, then you'll also know that Stephen Sheriff was toying with the idea of opening up more alpha keys depending on how the testing went, and they said they did have some setbacks and bugs come up in this previous weekend test they did, which is to be expected in alpha. However, due to these bugs and setbacks, at this time they are not looking at doing any more alpha keys for the moment. And then they moved on to show us a 35-minute gameplay video in this previous alpha. A couple things of note that we saw in it is they did listen to community feedback and have adjusted the blur underwater to make it a little bit clearer while you're swimming. And they have also seen a lot of feedback on the fireball animation for the mage being too long and looking to lock your character in place, which they have adjusted and shifted already and are in the first phase of their new animation, which no longer has those issues. So it's great to see how much they are listening to the community and taking feedback and adjusting things on the spot. I also thought whatever lizard mount they were riding while underwater, although it is not an underwater mount by design, had some very nice swim animations in the way it moved, although it was slow. The other thing I noticed in the video they showed was that melee staff animation looked very well done and quite cool, especially given that it was a mage using the staff, and showing that they are not going to have mages just sitting there smacking things with a wooden stick once they get to melee combat. And the last thing that they kind of mentioned while they're going on in the video is that you'll notice there are no exclamation points or question marks marking quest locations. These quest locations will not be big icons or graphics like that. Instead, they're going to color quest givers' names or someone associated with a quest with a green name, and gold named NPCs will be more like merchants and shopkeepers, trying to get rid of that clunky and lore-breaking feel of having large icons above NPCs. Once they were all wrapped up with the video, they moved into some environment screenshots showing various tropical locations, some jungle locations, and then a few ruins just to show off some of the atmosphere and environment in this Alpha 1 location. They also showed off the finished product of the Timeless Terrapin, which is something we saw the 3D molding of in the previous live stream, and then showed us some early concept and some more 3D molding of a Kirin, which will have a mount variant and a creature variant in the game, and the Howling Ridge Ox, which will be another mount that is achievable in the game. They also showed us some concept and design for some ambient fish in the water, trying to make it seem more lively underwater instead of just being stagnant, and some stingray creatures in the game, which I will definitely say some of the design they showed has some incredible detail in it, and I'm interested to see these things in the game. I'm also interested in seeing the armor set that they showed off being the Protector armor, given that it also looks like it has some incredible detail along the shoulder pads and the cloak. Once they wrapped up with various design pieces and concepts, they moved into the Q&A. First question they were asked was, the pre-purchase game time by pre-ordering the game, will it be activated at launch automatically? And Stephen Sheriff said you will be able to manually activate it when you would like to, so if you're not able to play directly at launch, you will have that stored up game time and be able to tell the system to activate it whenever you're ready to play. Another question they were asked was, can every member in a family marry, essentially doubling the size of a family? And the answer was no. The design is that you can only marry as the head of a household, incentivizing people to split off and create their own families, as opposed to just making one giant family, essentially making it a guild. And since there are bonuses and privileges to being part of a family, you will have to actually specifically design how you want to run yours, or if you want to split off and start your own. Another question was, if your node is sieged by enemy players and you own a freehold in its zone of influence, will you be able to loot and raid your own freehold once your node is destroyed and get some of the stuff back? And the answer was no. If you are marked as a defender of the node, because you own property in it, once the raid is complete and you have lost the war, only attacking members will gain the ability to raid and loot the nearby destroyed properties. They were also asked a question about skills and being locked to certain environments such as indoor or outdoor, not allowing you to cast them until you meet the requirements. The indoor and the outdoor part did not make a ton of sense to me, barring maybe like a fireworks ability. However, they did touch on the fact that no skills will be locked to an environment, but they will use the environment to their advantage for certain skills, such as using lava in the area or being in snowy mountains and using ice abilities, being amplified and enhanced but not being completely restricted to that environment. And the last question we're going to cover today is, will there be incentive to defend a caravan? Obviously, when a caravan opportunity comes up for PvP, the attackers get to loot and take the materials and resources by defeating it. And they were wondering if there's any reason or incentive to be a defender of it if you do not have a personal stake in the caravan. And Sheriff touched on the fact that they're going to have progression and rewards for certain play types. So it seems like you might actually be able to mark yourself as a mercenary or a hired hand and actually progress through certain areas of the game or certain quest lines based upon the fact that you are someone that people can hire to defend caravans. And then Jeffrey Barr chimed in a little bit, mentioning that a large portion of what they want to be the incentives is social and player based. That perhaps the people running the caravan might need to offer money to get mercenaries or hired hands to help defend it, or people need to mutually try and get this node leveled up through resources with the caravan in order to progress to certain dungeons or to progress to a metropolis and start earning more money. So although there might be some award and progression systems in the game by design, a large portion of it will be social and community based. Alright guys, that was your quick breakdown and summary of the February development update for Ashes of Creation. Hopefully it was helpful to you if you want to kind of stay up to date with the project but don't have time to watch the entire live streams or check out everything they do on social media. If you want to continue seeing updates for Ashes of Creation, make sure you hit that subscribe button down at the bottom. Thanks for watching. I will see you next time.